Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelsey. Today I'm going to be doing another new release fragrance video for you guys. It's something a little bit different than what I normally do. So I'm going to be reviewing the newest releases of fragrances coming from Zara. And I was super excited about this one because it is a vanilla collection. I love everything vanilla. I could never get tired of vanilla. I always reach for that scent profile. It's just something that I naturally gravitate towards and I love. So of course I love seeing Zara push out new vanilla fragrances. I'm not sick and tired of it like some of you might be. So I'm gonna let you know, do I think they're worth it? Which one is my favorite? And are these dupes of other fragrances? Because Zara is known to dupe other fragrance houses, so I wouldn't be surprised if these are very similar to other niche or designer fragrances. I picked up all 4 fragrances so that you don't have to. I'm going to let you know which one is my favorite, what I think is worth it. So they did do 2 size options on these, which I really appreciate because I really didn't want to buy all 4 of the large bottle. I did pick up the smaller ones and they retailed for $17.90. The larger bottle is $35.90. I have noticed the prices going up for Zara fragrances lately. I remember the larger bottles, they used to be about 22 or 24. Now they're at 35, so I think they're pushing it a little bit, but I do appreciate the smaller size option. The first one I'm going to talk about is Hypnotic Vanilla. Now, just based off of the name, what do you think this might be a dupe of? So it's described as addictive and hypnotic, a radiant feminine bouquet embraced by the richness of golden vanilla. So the notes on this one are apricot blossom, jasmine, bourbon vanilla, moss, and dulce de leche. Now that sounds delicious, it sounds beautiful, it sounds gourmand, but it also sounds a touch floral, maybe a little bit woody. I'm going to spray all of these on just to kind of refresh my memory. So initially I get a blast of powdery jasmine vanilla. Definitely get the bourbon vanilla. The apricot blossom maybe a little bit. I could see that adding a touch of dried fruit. And then I do pick up on the dulce de leche. It's not really that prominent in here. I would say this is a very powdery, sweet fragrance. With jasmine, vanilla, you get a lot of the jasmine. And I do like this one, but it reminds me a lot of Hypnotic Poison from Dior. And I already have that in my collection, so I don't need this one because that's already a pretty affordable fragrance. But you do get that powdery, almondy touch from the jasmine mixed with the vanilla. It's very similar to Hypnotic Poison. I have the eau de toilette. I don't think I've tried the eau de parfum, but this is almost spot on. I'm picking up a lot of similarities. The dulce de leche may be making it a touch sweeter, more caramel-esque, less than the Hypnotic Poison. But besides that, it's extremely similar. So if you love that fragrance, then you would also really like this. If you wanted Hypnotic Poison, you can get this for a lesser price now. That's not saying that the performance or lasting power is going to equal that of the Dior fragrance, but it's worth a shot. The next one that I have from the collection here is Supreme Vanilla. And this fragrance is described as a feminine and sophisticated fragrance in ink accord, associated to a pink sugar note, sublimate a captivating vanilla with notes of tonka bean and cedarwood. This also sounds like something that I would love. I do like that on that box in particular, they actually listed the notes of everything in there. So you do have the tonka bean, you have that pink sugar, whatever that is. Maybe referencing the pink sugar fragrance, which is a very sweet, girly fragrance. And then you have cedar in here and the Madagascar vanilla. I would say this one is more truly gourmand than the last one. So Supreme Vanilla, the initial thing that I got when I smelled this was it is similar to Milk from Commodity. The regular version, not the lighter or the stronger version. I believe it's the expressive one. So that's the one that really came to mind for me. maybe slightly reminiscent of that Tonka Vanilla vibe from Maison Margiela replica by the fireplace, minus the smokiness. I do actually really pick up on my skin the cedar, because I was getting something very woody, almost mossy. They did have moss in the last fragrance, the Hypnotic Vanilla, but this one I'm getting like a touch of woodiness, moss, cedar. So it has this slightly like fresh green vibe to it, but it's very vanillic. You get a ton of the Madagascar vanilla, you get some tonka bean in there, and definitely the pink sugar. It's super sugary sweet at the same time. So if you like those fragrances like milk minus the creaminess, I think that you would like this fragrance. Is it something that we've seen before? Yes, definitely. This is nothing new. But if you want that sugary, sweet, vanilla fragrance, then I think this is the one for you. It's not really up my alley because I do like to have some more depth in with the vanilla, and it's kind of falling flat for me. It's just sugar and vanilla, and a slight woody base to it, but yeah, it's pretty. It's nothing super special, but if you want a super sugary vanilla, then go for it. I'm trying to decide, do I save my favorite one for last, or do I just talk about it now? Let's just talk about it now, why don't we? So my favorite from the line, this was the first one that I sprayed. It was, I think, the only one that had a tester or a bottle out in the store. And so I knew I was gonna like this one, and I was really happy that I was able to smell it initially. The other ones were a complete blind buy. So this fragrance is called Vanilla Vibration. And what this immediately made me think of, not even because of the smell, but just the name in general, Initio Parfums, they do have a fragrance called Addictive Vibration, which I absolutely love. So I was thinking to myself, could this be similar? And as I tried it, it honestly does have this reminiscent quality to an Initio fragrance. Not necessarily Addictive Vibration by any means, it's very different. But you know, Initio just has this kind of smooth, airy, sweet quality that lingers in the air. All of them have that kind of DNA to them. Some fragrance brands tend to have that, and this does that for me. Oh my gosh. I really like this one, and the reason is because it has so much more depth to it than the other two that I've tried already. Okay, so this is described as a charming vanilla nectar irresistibly infused with the woody scent of papyrus and powdery iris flower. Okay, I guess I could see that. I see the iris. I do kind of see a papery essence to this. But then there's a lot of spice in here too, which I tend to love spice with my vanillas, so hence the reason why this is my favorite. So this has notes of cardamom, iris, vanilla, orange blossom, and violet. Once again, we see the orange blossom. I have been leaning towards those fragrances lately, but I do pick up that irisy violet scent, which is more of that purpley flower scent. It can smell powdery, it can smell like makeup, a buttery iris. And as I'm smelling this again, wow. I just recently picked up, and I talked about the Dior Parfum Intense that I recently picked up. I don't know if that video is going to be out before this one, but now that I'm smelling it again, it almost smells like the women's version of that fragrance. It has that almondy, buttery iris scent to it with a touch of spice. This one's just amped up on the sweetness from the vanilla. But wow, it is kind of similar to that. Now, by any means, that is not the same fragrance profile. I mean, there are some similar notes in there, but you do get a lot of spice in this one. You get the vanilla, but it has that ethereal quality that Initio Parfum has. So I'm almost leaning a little bit towards Rehab, but with more amped up spice, mixed with a little bit of Dior Intense. And then I'm almost smelling also a touch of Starlight from Xerjoff because of that vanillic quality mixed in with the cardamom spice. So I'm really not getting one fragrance that Vanilla Vibration is leaning towards I'm kind of getting a mixture of different fragrances. So if you tend to like those vanilla spicy fragrances, if you like that buttery iris smell, then I think that you would love this. This is definitely the one with the most depth in my opinion out of the whole vanilla collection here. This is the best one in my opinion. I really do like this one. I have to see how the performance and lasting power is. I wore it last night when I went on a long walk, and I guess I was sweating a lot. It's really hot here still, but I was getting it a little bit in the beginning, and then once I got home it definitely had dissipated. So I don't know if this needs to kind of sit for a little while, but I know Zara is known for having a disappearing act. But so far, I really love this one. And last up from this new vanilla collection from Zara, we have Starlight Vanilla. Funny, because I just mentioned Starlight from Xerjoff, and now we have Starlight Vanilla. But let's find out how this smells. So this is described as the purest abstraction and exquisite nectar of almond and tonka bean, dressed in an enveloping ambery vanilla signature. Ooh, does that sound sexy or what? Wow, that was quite the description. This was an interesting fragrance for me. I do also really like this one. It would be my second favorite, you could say. So this fragrance has vanilla foam. It doesn't have just vanilla foam. It has almond milk, lavender, and amber. That sounds delicious, doesn't it? I get a blast of the lavender, I get a blast of the amber, and of course you get the vanilla, but it's not the most prominent note in here, which I kind of do enjoy how they played it up with the vanilla foam note. That's really interesting to me. So it's kind of a lighter vanilla note in here. And then you do get that almond milk kind of mixed in with everything. So it's almost a creamy, slightly lactonic lavender amber fragrance. And even now saying lavender and milk, what's coming to mind is the Lancôme Privé collection. It was the Lavande Trianon, and I never tried that one. I almost blind bought it one time, but I didn't, and I don't know, I've never tried this before. So if you have, please let me know if you could describe that fragrance. I don't know if this would be similar to it, maybe. If you did like this fragrance, you could possibly like this because you get that milky lavender ambery scent. And initially when I first sprayed this on myself yesterday, I immediately was like, that's Dior Addict. Dior Addict all the way. I used to wear that at one of my last jobs a few years ago, and I was like, this is a dupe of Dior Addict immediately. But then when I got home, it started morphing, started changing on my skin, and it developed into a different fragrance for me, that being Myrrh and Tonka from Jo Malone, which is my favorite Jo Malone fragrance, by the way. And I was shook, I was surprised, I was just thinking, like, how did I go from Dior Addict to Myrrh and Tonka? Like, I was so confused. But I mean, those fragrances kind of have a similar vibe. I would say Addict is a little bit more on the floral side. It goes kind of powdery, but it has that heavy dose of amber, that darker, mysterious vibe to it. Myrrh and Tonka also kind of has that, but it's a lot of myrrh, it's a lot of deep, resinous, almost tonka bean. I know tonka is not a resin, but that's just the vibe that I get from it. And then you do have this lavender scent going on in the background. So for me, as I smell this now, it's kind of a mixture of Myrrh and Tonka and Addict. So if you love either of those fragrances, you're definitely gonna love this one. It's kind of exciting to me because I've only ever smelled one dupe of Myrrh and Tonka, and that was from Layered, and I loved that one. I had a large sample of it, and I literally wore it all the time. I wore it to bed, and I have a lot of nice scent memories with that fragrance. So it's kind of exciting to have this. I'm gonna definitely keep this one in my collection. To me, those two in the whole collection of the Zara Vanilla fragrances, I just feel that they have the most depth to them. They have the most character. I could see them being a great purchase for a new perfume. If you don't want to spend a lot of money and you like that style of fragrances, I really recommend those. The first two that I talked about, the Supreme Vanilla and the Hypnotic Vanilla, I just feel that those two fragrance scent profiles are a little bit redundant, kind of overdone, and you really don't need those in your collection. You could find them anywhere else, whether that be in Pink Sugar or Hypnotic Poison. I just don't think those two are worth it, but by all means, if you love those two fragrances, then definitely pick those up because they smell extremely similar. I kind of want to start exploring more Zara fragrances. I've only got one other one in my collection, and that was from a couple years ago. I think they just continued it. It was Bois Soleil. I'm pretty sure I bought the men's fragrance. It was kind of a patchouli sandalwood dominant fragrance, but I want to explore more. Zara does some really good scents, although a lot of them are dupes. Hey, you know, we gotta save our coins sometimes. I want to try the tobacco ones for sure. So if you have any favorite Zara fragrances, please let me know in the comments below. Maybe I'll do another Zara video if I start building a collection of their perfumes. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And have you tried any of these vanilla fragrances? Was there one that stood out to you? I'd love to hear about it. Thank you so much for watching today. I appreciate all of you, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!